just going to test my microphone out in the background without anybody knowing. One, two, three. Test one, two, three. And here we go. I think. All right. We're gonna go off the cuff here. So hey everybody, thanks for tuning in to episode 794 of the Overseas Connection podcast. Today is July 21st, 2024. You're getting a solo show today. Nobody else here but just me. Greg DeLacy, Gamertag Murphy's Law, OC_Murphy's Law on Twitter. And yeah, we're doing it solo. No, not OnlyFans. Sorry. We'll keep it clean. We'll keep it classy-ish. But anyway, yeah, we're a video game podcast. If you've never been on the show before or seen us, heard of us, I don't blame you. But we talk about video games. We talk about life. We've got a lot to get to today in that regard. We do this every Sunday, 8 p.m. in the UK, 12 p.m. on the West Coast, 3 p.m. in the East Coast. And if you happen to be celebrating your birthday today, like Kim Woods is, it's 2 p.m. Central Time Zone. We are on Twitch. We are on YouTube. So come join us live when we do this. You can be part of the chat like Lord in the chat right now. And also, of course, we'll put forward an audio version of this podcast. At some point, you'll be able to hang out and watch it and get down and groove with the oldies. While you're maybe you're watching or listening while you're working out. I'm really making myself sound old right now, so I'm going to stop. We're going to just push forward again. Happy birthday, Kim Woods. I think she turned 22 today, something like that. It's certainly not not even a year older than that. Anyway. All right. And for whatever reason, I thought I was going to have audio. I'm trying to see if the audio is coming through. I don't know if it's going to, but you know what? Hey, we're going to give it a time. We're going to give it a try. See if that pops through. And I don't think it's popping through. So screw the audio. We're no sound effects. You've got me just unimpeded, Lord. Get ready, buckle up. We're going to have some fun. So the breaking news, we got to talk about it because it's been the elephant in the room. We had this crazy weekend last weekend with our, Donald Trump being potentially trying to, assassination attempt on his life. And the courageousness and craziness around that entire story. I mean, honestly, I don't think you could write a better script for him in terms of the promotional material. He has this image of him with his fist pumped up in the air, and he's saying fight, and blood's on his face, the flag's in the background. I mean, it just paints a picture of the kind of person you want to be your president, right? He's just, relentless warrior. And I'm not trying to say Donald Trump is by any means a perfect president or presidential even choice, but from his standpoint, this 100% was a win. And then we mirror that to Joe Biden, and he came down with COVID apparently. He took off, retreated off of his campaign stumps, and was reflecting because, of course, he had such a bad performance at the debate. That debate, honestly, sunk his presidential run. And it was really just a matter of time. And I'm going to go into some conspiracy theories in a second, but I mean, it was just a matter of time. And hello, Boomer, in the chat. You got me solo show today. So, it is what it is. Kim was celebrating her birthday or something like that. Robin, be honest. We don't know what Robin's doing. Robin just is doing weird things all the time. He may be drunk, buying stuff on Amazon. He might be racing. He might be helping with the kids. I don't know. And Mark, I think Mark is just cooped up in the corner right now, just tired, had a rough week. So he just kind of passed. Anyway, so we're talking about Biden. So Joe Biden, I feel like the Democratic, the DNC, the Democratic National Convention or Committee, if you will, really kind of set him up with that early debate. They wanted to expose him. They knew the realities of he was not going to make it another 4 years, and they needed something to be able to push him out of his attempt to run for president again. And so they were the ones helping push for that early debate. And to be honest, I mean, there was no good reason for him to do that debate. And I think that's the most mystifying thing to me when I think about it. He had won the primaries, so he had won, basically the Democratic vote for being the next representative for the Democratic Party. So why do a debate so early? There was no strategic benefit to him. And at the end of the day, it ultimately proved to be his poison pill. It's what got him ousted. And I think that was on purpose. I think the Democrats also, and if you're a Democrat, I feel bad for you in this moment in time. I'm sorry to go on and on about politics, but I mean, it's an important moment for our country right now. We've had this crazy last weekend. This weekend now proving to be just as crazy. With him stepping aside, he's announced he will no longer run for president, and he will just look to finish out his term. So, the Democrat Party, of course, they had primaries all, the early part of this year to vote for who they wanted to represent them in the presidential race. Now, traditionally, if the incumbent president is running again for office, then they usually allow that person to, basically kind of go unopposed. And there wasn't a lot of opposition to Joe Biden in the primary elections, but they did go through the primary elections. They actually prevented, Robert Kennedy Jr. from, running within the Democratic Party, convention. So in a sense, they cleared the path for Joe Biden to be the representative, and the people that are Democrats were kind of told, hey, this is your candidate. Here's the guy. And now suddenly in the last hour, because basically a week from now, a little over a week from now, the Democratic convention will happen. I think it happens actually the latter part of August, but they're going to hold the vote early in August, and it can be virtual. And they're going to cast who they want to be their new representative, for the Democratic Party outside of any primary voting. So the actual Democratic voters are not getting a say in who is going to run and represent their party in the upcoming election. So that's a bit scandalous in my opinion. And then of course, we have the other big question. If Joe Biden doesn't feel he can win, if there is a prevailing thought that he is no longer really fit to run the country, then why is he being allowed to run the country? Do we see them force him out completely from the office and let Kamala Harris come in and take over? As VP, that would be her role. He has cast his vote in terms of, he wants Kamala now to be the representative. He's put himself behind her. However, that's not a lock. If the DNC decides they want, say, God forbid, although, I mean, I don't wish this on the United States, but California, if Gavin Newsom was put up as the Democratic nominee, then I mean that would be good for my state because he'd no longer be governor, and then hopefully he loses in the election, and then that would actually be a real win for me on both fronts. Anyway, looking at the chat here, Snoogan's in the chat. Riots in Leeds. Maybe Mark's been arrested. Oh, and that could be. You never know. Mark doesn't strike me as the rioting type, just for the record. Mark is one of the nicest, kindest individuals you'll ever meet. So I don't think he would be rioting. But then again, maybe there was a call for banning all gas vehicles, and I think Mark he'd probably riot over that. He hates working on electric cars. Democrats been pushing the panic button. Yeah, they definitely have been pushing the panic button, Boomer. And now it's a scramble. Now, so the panic button is kind of they've pressed the panic button enough. Biden has relented. He's stepping away. Now it's really a mad dash to see who they want to prop up as the new Democrat, nominee, and this becomes a huge strategic question. Because if they do pull one of the existing governors, Gavin Newsom or Gretchen Whitmer, they are also exposing that state to potentially, have, that they lose that governorship, if you will. So a lot of interesting maneuvering still to happen in the political landscape of the United States. It's never a dull moment. Okay. Where to start with okay, so I had this mystery cough happening, and who knows, maybe it's COVID. I couldn't tell you. I'm a firm believer I can't get COVID if I don't get tested, and that is tongue in cheek. It's a little bit of a joke, but I never felt sick this whole week. I've had this nagging cough though that just didn't want to go away. It's finally kind of turned the corner. But I mean, I had the chest congestion in there, but no other symptoms, no fevers, no aches, no nasal congestion, which usually if I get a chest cold, I'll get a nasal cold, that kind of thing. So it just was lingering in my chest. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was allergies. I don't know. But I'm finally over that. Happy to say I'm over that. We were supposed to have a really fun weekend planned. So my wife's birthday is tomorrow. And so happy pre-birthday, Cindy DeLacy. And our son, he has a daycare center that does sleepovers, and it just so happens they were offering up a sleepover this weekend. So I was like, this is the absolute perfect scenario. We will have Colin go to a sleepover, so we'll have the entire night to go out and be adults and just have a really fun birthday weekend. I arranged up a dinner at a place called Sutter Steakhouse. We were going to go to a place called the Crawdad House, which has live music, and they had a cover band that was going to be playing there that night. So I bought tickets for that. And then at 4:00 on Friday, basically get the call from daycare saying, hey, we've had a bunch of people test positive for COVID from our nursing staff. We have to cancel sleepover. And she was, she felt bad. She knew I was making plans. But of course, then I'm in scramble mode to get everything reversed out, get refund for the tickets because we no longer are going to be able to go because we'll have our son. Fortunately, the daycare center did tell me that they could take him in for the day. And so we brought him over there basically from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. And we ended up doing just a kind of fun hang out at the pool in the backyard, drinking margaritas all day long, cooked up a nice little lunch for us, and just enjoyed a very relaxing day. Wasn't the big hurrah that I had hoped, but we now have a new plan for Monday. We're going to go to our nice dinner. We do have a babysitter coming, and so we'll at least be able to go out for a nice dinner with my wife and celebrate her birthday. But yeah, not quite like it originally was. I keep wanting to pull a Maryland governor. Boomer, I would rather you take the California governor away from California if you can. That would make me happy. Anyway, so a couple recommendations on shows. So I did. I'm like 20 minutes left of Beverly Hills Cop Axel F. This is on Amazon. No, it's on Netflix. Sorry, Netflix. Um, it's okay. It's a Beverly Hills Cop movie. Um, it saddens me as I'm watching this movie because the guys that play Taggart and Rosewood are in the movie, and they're showing their age. Oh dear Lord, I mean, Eddie Murphy still looks pretty damn good for his age, but Taggart and Rosewood, man, and I don't remember the names of the actors. Apologies, but they're definitely showing the signs of age, as is Paul Reiser even. So, all of those kind of the guys that have been in every movie, still there, but it feels old. It feels like they're this is the last one. I can't see them making another one after this. Um, and the humor is there, but again, they're really relying on a lot of that nostalgia because a lot of the humor that they're pulling in for this movie is very much akin to the humor from the first movie. And so it's just like, you know, similar lines being delivered, just slightly tweaked in different ways, but it's basically the same gag. So look, if you have a moment and you've got nothing else to watch, sure, watch it. Am I going to sit there and tell you this is the greatest Beverly Hills Cop movie ever? No. The first one is still the best one and probably the only one really worth watching. You're better off watching other movies at that point, like this next movie. So on the heels of the Republican National Convention, they nominated J.D. Vance, who as the VP pick for running with Trump. And I heard, during the course of the convention, I did not know this prior to, but he had created a book, or wrote a book. It was his own memoirs called Hillbilly Elegy. And they made a movie out of it. And as I started kind of investigating the movie, because I was curious, well, it's directed by Ron Howard. It has a number of like really, prime A grade actresses and actors within it. And so I was intrigued and watched this movie. It's an incredible story of rags to riches, if you ask me. And I think it embodies a lot of that American sentiment of, there's always opportunity. You do have to put the work in. You can't, not. But it's really worth watching. If you haven't seen it or you're curious, I highly recommend it. Hillbilly Elegy, and that's Elegi, I believe. Anyway, definitely worth the watch. Okay. So, again, apologies, no sound effects. Deal with it. But we do have some games to talk about. I'm going to talk about some of the free games coming. We've talked about everything that you've got from PlayStation Plus before and Prime, but Xbox Game Pass for July just added Flintlock: The Siege of Dawn. I'm very, very excited for this game. I do want to check this out. Dungeons of Hinterberg and Kanutsugami: Path of the Goddess. That's a game I will give a hard pass on. I don't even know. Maybe I would love this game, but I'm just based on title alone, I'm thinking I'm not going to like it. So yeah, gonna pass. But Flintlock: The Siege of Dawn looks interesting. I'm very curious about that one. There also was a game, I don't know, it's escaping me now, that just came out. It's more of a walking simulator investigation game, and it's on Game Pass. I definitely want to check that out as well. I'm curious. I'm curious in the chat if the Game Pass price hikes are going to impact you. Do you think it? I don't know. I don't think Snoogans, you do Game Pass. I could be wrong. Boomer, I think you do Game Pass. Lord, I don't know. And so, just curious if price, if the increase by $3 a month, is that going to in any way impact your thinking about continuing to subscribe? Now, of course, that price hike did catch the attention of the FTC, and they basically kind of came forward and said, this is exactly what, we were warning of, that, once they bought Activision Blizzard King, that they were going to raise prices. And so they have come forward and basically said, let's see here. Following a court victory for Microsoft last year, the FTC currently is appealing that. The corporation completed the $69 billion acquisition of Activision in October, but that appeal is out there. And this price hike is something that I remember the FTC was talking about, saying, that is their fear, is that they would do this. And I think this does put Microsoft in a little bit of a pickle. I know Microsoft is trying to say that it's not the same thing. I'm pulling the news article right now as we're speaking here, so I can quote correctly. But the FTC was basically saying, product degradation, removing the most valuable games from Microsoft's new service, combined with price increases for existing users, is exactly the sort of consumer harm from the merger the FTC was alleging. They said Microsoft's price increases and product degradation, combined with Microsoft's reduced investments in output and product quality via employee layoffs, are the hallmarks of a firm exercising market power post-merger. FTC goes on to note that Microsoft's price increases coincide with the adding of Call of Duty to Game Pass, Game Pass's most expensive tier, and discontinuing the console tier will happen shortly before the release of Call of Duty's newest game. It notes that Microsoft promised that the acquisition would benefit consumers by making Call of Duty available on Microsoft's Game Pass on the day it is released on a console, with no price increase for the service based on the acquisition. The agency concludes that by claiming that Microsoft's post-merger actions vindicate it and its earlier skepticism of promises it made regarding Game Pass. So FTC is definitely going in. Let's see. I see Snugan's Lord's good with it. Boomer, I believe, also good with it, but Snugan's gone to the dark side. I'm kidding. He got his PlayStation because his wife said he was too bored, so she bought him a PlayStation 5. I like it a lot better. Think you get a lot for your money if you use it for Xbox and PC. Yeah, I mean that Ultimate really, if you're using it for Xbox and PC, I think that's where that is the sweet spot for Ultimate. Anyway, so getting sidetracked here. Back to the FTC claims. I don't know this is going to go anywhere because I don't think this merger at this point, it is cemented. I don't think that they're going to be able to unwind this. However, I think they could put some pressure, and hopefully consumer pressure also comes back to Microsoft to say, hey, maybe some of the things that you're trying to pull away, put back in. Now, Microsoft has responded. It says it's wrong to call Game Pass degraded. And so it claimed the price increases were exactly... sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself here. Responding to the FTC in its own filing on Friday, Microsoft said it's wrong to call its offering degraded since the standard tier, which is one of these new tiers that they've created, is allegedly replacing Game Pass for console offering, which did not include online multiplayer. So that's an important thing. The Game Pass standard tier. God, this is really confusing. So there's the Ultimate, Standard. There still is Game Pass Console. They're keeping that around for now for kind of pulling people in. And then there's Game Pass Basic, I think it's called, or Core. So earlier this month, Microsoft announced changes to its gaming subscription services. Game Pass to provide consumers valuable options at different price points. So the Game Pass Standard tier, which also offers access to hundreds of back catalog games and multiplayer functionality for $14.99 a month. So that's the interesting thing. So Game Pass Console, in the past, you did get day one games. It was the Game Pass Core that they created, where they were like, well, it's just going to be 25 games that we tell you what you get. They're not going to be day one games, but we'll include multiplayer. But console, they didn't include multiplayer, but you got your day one games. Now they've created Standard to replace console. And so just to make it that much more confusing, now it is a back catalog of games. You're no longer getting day one games in Game Pass Standard. That's the important distinction, the differentiator. And now they are including multiplayer in that. So they basically said, "No, we'll give you back multiplayer, but you're going to get hundreds of games as opposed to Game Pass Core, which is only 25, set games, but nothing day and date." And the expectation for any games coming into Game Pass Standard, they said approximately 6 to 12 months. It'll be depending on the game. So maybe Call of Duty comes out. I'm guessing that's going to be a 12-month game, but maybe something smaller. Say State of Decay 3, when that comes out, maybe that'll only be 6 months window, and then it'll come on to Game Pass Standard. So that's how they're handling that. Again, I've been on Ultimate this whole time. I will say this: if you are looking to stack your membership, one thing that did come out of all of this is Microsoft is capping it at 12 months. You're no longer going to be able to stack Game Pass for multiple years. Which sucks because you find some great deals and you can buy multiple subscriptions and then just stack them up. You have until September. So my advice, go check out CD Keys, Amazon, look for those sale price, opportunities. And you might be able to find 3 months at basically, roughly like $37 for 3 months. That's, decidedly cheaper than $19.99 a month. You buy a bunch of those. So buy 4 or 5 of those game cards, and then you just input those codes. You'll stack your membership up. And so you can do that. I had my membership stacked all the way to 2025 currently. I'm going to do a run probably next month and just buy a bunch of, Game Pass, stack it up before the price increase goes into effect, before they cap how much you can stack. I think now currently you can stack up to 2 years. So they're going to cap you at 1 year. So anyway, food for thought. Let's move forward. There's other stuff to talk about here. This is interesting. Bethesda workers vote to become the first Microsoft game studio to fully unionize. So this would be not just your QA people, but the entire studio. So I thought that was an interesting thing. And Microsoft, I don't know if we want to say to their credit or because they had said before in front of the FTC that they wouldn't try to block any attempts to create a union. They're supportive of this. It will benefit the employees overall. Maybe not the guys at the top, because the guys at the top are already going to make their money anyway. But the guys in the bottom rungs are going to get a better deal out of this. So good on them. Let's see. Oh, a little bit more Microsoft news. And this kind of saddens me, but also makes me happy. Paramount Plus has canceled its Halo show after 2 seasons. So no more Master Cheeks. And yeah, the writing was on the wall. They did lift it, it's left at a bit of a cliffhanger, which sucks. But they just didn't get it. Whoever was writing and developing this, and I don't remember the name of it, but they wanted to really humanize Master Chief, and I get that on one hand, but there's a better way of doing it, and there was a better way to be faithful to the original story that they just weren't adhering to. They did too many little deviations on their own, and ultimately it hurt the show. I actually really liked some of the last episodes of season 2, but it is what it is. It's gone. They have said that the show is trying to shop it to somebody else now. I would be curious. There's a couple different people that have stepped up saying they might be interested in taking on the project. One guy, and I'm failing to remember his name, huge Halo fan. That's what they need. They need somebody who understands Halo, similar to what they had with Amazon's Fallout series. And heck, I say give it to Amazon. They've already proven they can do it right. So give it to Amazon. Let them steward this and get Halo back on track. That would be my vote. Okay. There was a couple other news stories. What do we got here? Let's see. Anything else that's interesting? 82% of American players made an in-game purchase last year, according to a survey. That's interesting. I mean, I don't think that replaces obviously the cost of a full-fledged game, but I think that's what a lot of these, especially free-to-play games, are hedging their bets on. You're going to do in-game purchases. You're going to see that cool skin like Snoogans does, and he just has no self-control, and he has to buy it. That's what these games, they're basically, they're looking at Snoogans and they're like, he's the whale. Let's make stuff for him. I don't care if, Boomer or Lord, they don't bother buying the skin. We know we could sell 5 skins to Snoogans and he'll buy all 5. That's what they're hoping for. That's the model. And I think I don't have a problem with it. I don't have a problem with in-game purchases as long as it's not a competitive advantage. Then who cares? PlayStation owners, Stugans, here you go. You can claim a 3-month Apple TV free trial if you already don't have it. You can get that. Amazon's Fallout show, speaking of, we were just talking about that. They've received 16 Emmy nominations. That's a staggering number for a video game TV show. Last of Us, I think, also was up there. But that is bonkers. Again, who would have thought Fallout TV show would be such a runaway success? But they did it so well. The fans loved it because they were truthful to the content, and general audiences loved it because it was well done. The story was good. The acting is fantastic. The special effects were good. Good for Fallout. I am excited. I want to see, season 2 and beyond. So bring it on. Let's see what else. There's some EA Sports FC25. By the way, that's the worst name in the world. FC25, basically adding a 5v5 rush mode. So what they're basically saying there is soccer is boring, and so we need to make it faster and more fun to play. Yeah, I said it. There's a PlayStation Store summer sale. Go for that. There's a preview of that new Star Wars game from Ubisoft out there. I don't think it looks bad, but God, it got a lot of negative vibe coming off that. It was like a 1-minute gameplay clip that went up on Twitter, and everybody just seemed to be slamming it, saying, "Oh, this looks horrible." And I'm like, that doesn't look that bad. I don't know. I'm looking forward to the Star Wars game. So Star Wars Outlaws, I think it's still coming out next month, if I'm not mistaken. So anyway, Snoogans never played Fallout before, but everyone keeps telling me to watch the show. 1,000% yes. You don't need to watch the show. It helps, mind you. It does help because you're kind of familiar with some of the things that happen in the show. But the show is really good. And I think you can get away with watching it without having to have been a Fallout gamer. So yeah, definitely recommend that. And I'm also going to throw this back out there because I've said it now multiple times. The show Lioness. It was on Paramount Plus. If you have the ability to watch that show, watch it. It is fantastic. Can't highly recommend that one enough either. Okay, I think that does it for the news section. There wasn't a whole lot more. Let's see. So we played some Halo on Wednesday. It was myself, it was Martin, and Gary. And no, I take it back. Not Gary. Gary, you were at work. Gary was doing the right thing. Gary was working while we were playing Halo. It was Martin, Kim, and myself. We were trying to get Gary to come play, but ironically, I saw that he had been logged in like an hour beforehand, and then suddenly he logged off and had to do the work thing. No, I get it though. The work does get in the way. And Snoogans, of course, was nowhere to be seen because He's become now a PlayStation Master Race PC kind of guy. He just doesn't have time for the little people anymore. So he just, no shows left and right. Something about knee surgery or leg surgery. I don't know. Some kind of surgery he went in for. I'm pretty sure they amputated off his penis because he wasn't using it anyway. I love you, Snoogans. And hope you're recovering, by the way. So yeah, so we played some Halo, and damn it, we had fun, and we won. We won a couple games, but most importantly, Snoogans, when you're not there, it's great for me because we get put into lower ranked tiers, and I was wrecking shop. 25, 26 kill games, and yeah, it's not the norm. I will say that. But no, it was fun. We had a really, really great time. And we'll do it again this coming Wednesday. Maybe, just maybe, we can get Gary out. We can get Snoogans out. We can get a big old group again and have some just a good time. I'll just say that. It's just a good time. So what else on the gaming front? Not a lot, to be honest. That was about the gist of my gaming week. Not because I didn't want to play games, but every time I thought I was going to get some time to play games, something else came up, something got in the way. So my goal, I want to get more Starfield done this upcoming week. I'm really trying to focus in on. There's really two missions I want to focus in on, but God, Starfield tries so hard to get you not to focus in on the main mission. But it's the main mission, and then my main faction mission. I want to get those two completed, and then just get the story done and kind of move on. I've been playing Hellblade Senua's Saga 2, Hellblade 2 Senua's Sacrifice. Bits and pieces, and I like it that way. It is a walking simulator with combat. At the end of the day, it is gorgeous. It's well voice acted, but it's not this big open world action game. It guides you along a path. There's some puzzles to do. They at times can be maddening because you're just missing one element, and the game doesn't really hold your hand for the puzzling. But the combat to me feels good when you do get combat in. And so I think it's best taken in small snippets. Don't try and tackle it all at the same time. Oh, and there's Snoogans. If you'd ever turned up, I would have had to, use my pad, blah, blah, blah. Look, I'm tired of the excuses, Snoogans. It's time to step up. Step up or shut up. Okay? Come on. Anyway, in fact, I think this is another grudge match. We're going to have a grudge match again. And you're not going to be saved this time by your friend who threw chaos into things. You and me, mano a mano, and probably whoever else is playing with us. Anyway. All right. New releases for the week of the 21st to the 28th. Coming up, we have a plethora of games. The new Denpa Men on the Switch. What the fuck? Who comes up with these title names? This is what I really want to know. Who in the marketing department comes up with the name title for the games and thinks this is going to excite people? The new Denpa Men. Denpa. If I'm saying it wrong, sorry. But the new Denpa Men, whoever they are, on the Switch, July 22nd. Ete, E-T-E, on PC for July 23rd. Again, could you be more descriptive there? I don't think so. F1 Manager 2024. That'll be on pretty much everything. Last generation consoles as well. July 23rd. No PC? No, PC. It is on PC. So PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, PC. It's kind of running the gamut there. I thought this for a moment was ramen, but no, it's raw men, not ramen. If it was ramen Food Fighter Arena, that would make more sense. Maybe it is Ramen Food Fighter, and it's just misspelled here. So I'm going to go with Ramen. It's Ramen Food Fighter Arena. That might be exciting. That's coming to PC on the 23rd. The star named EOS, basically on all of the current consoles plus PC, July 23rd. Arranger, a role puzzling adventure. Arranger. ARRANGRE. Okay. All right. Okay. PlayStation 5, Switch, PC, and Mac. When do you ever see a Mac get a video game? There you go. July 25th. Earth Defense Force 6. They're still making these games. PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, and PC, July 25th. Kingdom Rush 5 Alliance for PC, iOS, and Android, July 25th. The fact that you see PC, iOS, and Android really should tell anybody who owns a PC that this game is a port of a phone game. Thrasher hey, here you go, VR game. We need to create a sound effect for when they make VR games, since it's so infrequent these days. But Thrasher is coming out for Quest 3, Quest 2, and PC on July 25th. By the way, did they ever launch the PlayStation VR 2 adapter to connect up to PC? Did that ever actually launch out? Does anybody care? Does anybody? I know everybody was all big on VR for a little while, and I called it, and I stand behind it. It's a passing fad, and it has its moments of being really fun, but the vast majority of people don't want something strapped to their face to play their video games. Tokyo Xanadu X on the Switch, July 25th. And then finally, last but certainly least, One Piece Odyssey on the Switch, July 26th. So there's your new releases for next week. Go forward. I don't think there's a game on that list that I'm actually remotely excited for. Yeah, this is the doldrums. This is right now, this is where people die on ships because they're stuck in the middle of the ocean. There's no breeze, there's no wind, nothing. They're running out of food, they're running out of water. This is that time of year. This is basically the doldrums of PC video game industry. I will be there. Okay. I have to play on my Xbox One though. Oh, look at that. All right, Snoogans. It's actually fun when Snoogans comes and plays on anything with a gamepad, because it is the ultimate equalizer. Now, granted, if I tried playing with my PC keyboard and mouse, I would suck. So, also an equalizer. I suck anyway. I digress. All right, so Wednesday, 8 p.m. Come out, hang out. It's 8 p.m. in the UK. It's 12 p.m. on the West Coast. We do a Wednesday night Halo / other games if the need is there, but it's pretty much always Halo Infinite. We'll be hanging out. We'll do an hour-ish, get in some gaming. It's a good time. Come hang out. It's open to anybody. So just ping me or ping Kim Woods, Gamer Girl. You can find us. Fatal Fridays. This was a thing that was started by Mark, and I'm just going to call Mark out now for this because he started it with the promises of greatness. And much like Joe Biden, I feel like that campaign now is basically being put on hiatus, and he's rethinking what he needs to do moving forward. If he'll continue Fatal Fridays or not, I don't know. Dementia, senility, and all of that setting in for Mark. So Fatal Fridays right now, it's just up in the air. It's up in the air. On the good days when Mark wakes up and he, between, the hours of 10 and 4 p.m., he's working and active and talking to people. But then most of the other time he is in bed, asleep, can't talk, form sentences, that kind of thing. So it's sad, but I love Mark. He's a great man. Okay. I've rambled on enough. I got in 45 minutes, which is probably about 45 minutes more than I thought I was going to get in today. So, look, Snoogans, Boomer, Lord, I appreciate all three of you, because even though I'm here solo, just sitting here, bringing the gaming goodness to you, you guys also showed up. You made the effort to turn on your computers, turn on whatever podcast device listening you have, or maybe you tuned into Twitch on your phone. I don't know. I don't know how you're listening to us, but the fact is you're here. And that's more than I can say for Kim, although she has an excuse, birthday, all that. Mark, again, dementia, senility setting in. I guess he has an excuse built in. Robin, He's just a crazy Mexican Irishman. So again, built-in excuse. But I mean, they didn't show. They're not here. So, and then Pete. I mean, I don't know. I honestly, Pete could be at the bottom of the ocean right now. I don't know. I have not heard from the young man in quite some time. I know he's been making his videos, so I know technically he's fine. But again, I miss him. So yeah. All right. I think that's it. I think we're going to wrap up the show now. If I could play a sound effect for you, I would, but I can't. Why? Because my computer hates me. That's the true reason behind all this. My computer hates me enough that it doesn't want to play any sound effects for me today. I had it working, and then I went to start the show, and it all shit the bed. I don't know. But hey, I'm glad we had this moment. We could share, we could talk, there's some kumbaya moments here. Anyway, shout out to Snoogans. Get better. I honestly still don't know what you went in for your surgery. I just have that screenshot of you in your surgical gown looking all sickly. You weren't really sickly. You just looked very, very nervous. I think that was pre-surgery. The lead up to surgery is always tough, by the way. You get nervous. It's like, okay, I'm going in for surgery. It's not a big deal, but yet it's a big deal because they have you sign that waiver. You might die. Worst waiver in the world, but they got to have you sign it. And then, of course, all you think about from that point forward is, I might die. Finishing just in for Love Island. Snookins. Anyway, happy birthday to my wife. Tomorrow is technically her birthday, so happy birthday, Cindy. I love you bunches. You'll never hear this, but I love you regardless. And happy birthday to Kim. Again, 21 comes around only once or 20 times in her case. But happy birthday, Kim. We love you also. And to the rest of you, thanks again. Come back next week. We actually might have more than one person. And if not, you'll get me again. I'll be here. All right, everybody, have a great day. We'll talk soon.